All right, so we're live. So let's know where you're joining from, the city you're joining from, your name and the city you're joining from. Were you a part of the business clinic earlier in the day? It was off the hook. It was something else altogether. It was something else. I think the replay is still available, but will be going off soon. So if you missed it, I would recommend you go watch the replay while it's still there. Oh, excellent. Yes, Mr. Eki Nosakere, right? Forgive me if I pronounce it wrongly. Were you the first one to join us for Winning in Business series when Paul Fo had a session? Can you please indicate, were you the first person? Because I think you are the one, I'm not sure. Confirm? Oh, great. Great. So you were the one that I'm supposed to give free membership to join his Sales Factory WhatsApp group, where he does repeat trainings again and again. So contact my executive assistant on 0708-797-0441 so that we can book you. And then we're only paying for 1 month subscription. And then if you think, oh, what you are deriving there is of value, then you can continue from there. So I think it's just 5,000. Yeah. So Victoria, please see to it. Let's sort that out. Okay, good. Yeah, so let's get right into Wealth Unleashed webinar. So you're all welcome to Wealth Unleashed webinar, weekend dose on your journey to financial freedom. We've mentioned that the structure of this particular series of lecture will take the framework of the triangle of life, where we establish the 3 phases in your journey to financial freedom. And we mentioned number 1 is personal transformation, and the first series of lectures we had dwelt extensively on that. The second phase is income generation, planning, and application, right? And we said that if you're not making money, you can't manage or multiply the money. So making money is a fundamental part of that journey, critical as a matter of fact. And that in any investment you make in your earning capability is critical to the success of you arriving at the wealthy place or arriving at financial freedom. So far, we've been looking at sales, and over the past 3 weeks, we've been looking at sales, and we touched on quite a bit around the facts, and these were fundamentals. Now, please take note, these are all fundamentals, and they are universal principle and concepts. We didn't just, and it's something I have practiced, again and again. So last week, I promised that we're going to take it a step further, and today, I want to look at 5-step process for, I actually call it the 5 levels in making sales, 5 levels of sales. I call it 5 levels of sales. So if you are in business, please pay attention to this. If you are in sales, right? If you're a sales professional, please pay attention to what I'm about to share, right? And whether you are conscious of it or not, somewhere along the line, you will still have to sell. And your ability to sell is is a purchasable skill. It's a skill that's transferable, it's portable. All right. So I want to show you a journey, and I hope that you'll be able to derive as much value as possible. The first level in this sales process, right? Because listen, behind every sale that takes place, there's a science to it, right? It's not some sales have been accidental, but if you dig deeper, you will see the science behind why that sale took place. And what I want to take you through is essentially around the science of sales, the science of sales, right? So we want to look at the 5 levels in making sales. The first one is suspect. Now, whenever, and I think I did share that in the last 3 weeks, that when your relationship with someone is still new or fresh, trust is at its very base. Trust is almost zero or even negative, depending on the experiences the individual has. So when someone is a suspect in the journey of sales, when someone is considered a suspect, that person does not have your number, but you have their number. That person, you know the person, but the person doesn't know you. So the chances that the person can do business with you, buy your product, or subscribe to your services is very, very low. All right. So whether you are buying online or buying offline, the chances that people will make a buying decision in their first contact is very, very low, because you have not yet earned their trust. And just like I say, you meet, it wasn't the day I met my wife, now that it wasn't the day I met her that I proposed marriage to her. Otherwise, I would have had capital no. And I'm sure that those of you who are married also, it wasn't the day your spouse met you met your spouse that there was married conversation, right? And that's the mistake a lot of people make. I wonder, why is it that I'm not making enough sales, right? And so it's important to recognize the sale you make today is a result of effort you made yesterday, relationships you built yesterday. And of course, the sales you will make tomorrow or next tomorrow or in the future will be premised on the relationship you are nurturing now. All right. So there are people who will readily part with their hard-earned funds because you have earned their trust. They won't even think twice. In fact, you don't even need to sell. I recall one time, I think this was during summer, and I was just having a conversation with a mentor of mine, and I just said something in passing. I wasn't selling to him. The following day, he just said, hey, that thing you were saying yesterday, this is X amount of money. And then he was already doing deals with me. Do you understand what I'm talking about? I wasn't selling. Why? I had earned his trust enough to the point where he can part with his hard-earned funds and do deals with me. The same thing is vice versa. There are deals, there are things we have done, together that, I didn't even think twice, right? So at the stage a person is a suspect, right? Trust is next to zero. In some instances, it may even be negative, because if the person has negative experiences, you make a proposal, you make an offer, they're not likely to subscribe to it. So it is at this point, what you do essentially at this phase in that relationship is you want to get to know the person. You want to make offers. You want to serve. You want to give, right? So this is where giveaways play a critical role, right? So you do a lot of giveaways. Sometimes you give cheat sheets, you give reports, free reports, you give templates, and all of these things. So whether you like it or not, these are the ways. So whether you are selling online or you are selling physically or offline, you need to understand the psychology around sales. Is the fact that you meet someone for the first time, they're not likely to do business. If they're ever going to do something with you, the risk, must be extremely insignificant, right? Before they even go ahead, to do anything with you. So suspect is the first level in this journey of sales. And like I said, suspect are those you know but don't know you, those whose contact you have, but they don't have your contact. There are people who call me, I don't have their numbers. I hardly pick calls. And when I do, the best way to reach me actually is through WhatsApp or text message. And once you sent me a message, I'll reply you at my earliest convenience. Okay. And that's pretty much because of the nature and the crazy, how crazy my schedule is. So I still give time to doing that. Okay. The next phase in this journey of sales is prospect. Now, when someone is just a suspect, you don't make proposals, you don't make offers. That is why you always hear the no. I recall many years ago, we were still very young and still believing God for increase and growth. And I recall that, some ladies were discussing one time, apparently this particular guy within our church also had proposed to the three of them, and all of them were discussing the matter, and I overheard the conversation. All of them gave guy a no. Although the guy eventually got married to someone else, but the point was that he hadn't built the relationship, he hadn't nurtured the friendship, right? So he hadn't served, he hadn't earned their trust. So you don't make sales, you don't make offers, you serve when your relationship, when the stage or the phase in which the lead or the contact you have is still a suspect. And it's important you categorize it that way. Number two is the prospect. At this point in time, you have booked appointments, you have established a nodding acquaintance with this individual. All right. So at this point in time, you are getting to know them. They're also getting to know you, right? You're getting to know them, and they're also getting to know you. And this is very, very key, because if you have their contacts and they do not have yours, there's no likelihood that they can put a face to the number. There's no likelihood that they'll be able to put a face to the call. But at this point in time, you want to establish nodding acquaintance. You want to verify their preferences. Sometimes the conversation may not even be tending toward what you do. It's more about them. And this is one key thing that you will do during prospecting. Prospecting is prospecting. Is like due diligence, like trying to, whether you like it or not, people like to talk about themselves, right? People like the attention to be on themselves. So rather than go before people and start talking about yourself, talk more about them and ask questions about them. Time won't permit me to go into what are the types of questions you can ask. At your first meeting. It's just like your first date, with a lady. You want to find out, what do you do? Where do you work? Where are you from? You want to ask some of those generic and fundamental questions everybody would love to work. What are your preferences? What are your interests? What do you like? What are your dislikes? You just want to get to know a bit of those things. And sometimes you can go a step further to say, oh, you look, you want to take it slowly. Sometimes, I've said it time and again, people who do big business with you will take time, right? Only would you somebody want to just give you 200 million or 500 million or 1 billion, because they met you for the first time. No, it takes process, it takes a journey, it takes time, all right, before people will stake their reputation, stake their resources, all right? Because again, if you lose money, it's easier to recover. But if you lose your reputation, you lose your name, it's way more difficult. So before people can commit to doing things with you at a massive level, they really want to take their time, right? Only irresponsible people just make a buying decision, major decisions, without thinking twice and all of those things. So at this prospect level, when a person is at a prospect level, your conversation now is, no, I finished from BSN. Oh, I finished from Harvard. Although I went to BSN too, but when I finished BSN, I went to Harvard. Oh, that's good. What's the process? You can now begin to discuss. You can discuss social issues. You can discuss family issues. You can discuss religious issues. Around the world. You can have global conversations, right? And that's why you need to be rounded. So it's not just about your business alone that you understand. Oh, last week I was in Germany. And I went to this museum, blah, blah, blah. You discuss general issues. And then you find their interest. Sometimes some people love football. And then if you are the type who do not really love football, it means you're not likely to have a smooth conversation. So prospect, at this point in time, you are prospecting. So are you married? You have children? Those are the points when I recall a woman that one of my very good friends and very close friends, in this particular year, she's been listening to my radio broadcast, for several years before that time. And then it was when I hosted this particular seminar that she drove all the way and came for that program. And if you had seen her, you would never have thought that she controlled that level of resource. But she came for that meeting, and when she eventually met me in person, she said she never knew that I was this young. That but my voice, that each time she's taking her children to school, that's when my broadcast goes live. You get, and that's essentially one of the things that connected, and that the things that I was always saying was always making a lot of sense. I was on radio for like 3 years, and at that point in time, she mentioned her name, introduced herself, and the moment she mentioned her name, I said, does she know so and so person? She said, that's her husband. I said, I said, well, I know him. So he said, how come you met my husband? I said, it's a very small world. So to cut long story short, we parted ways that particular day. One afternoon or so, I was just meditating, and then it occurred to me that I should book an appointment with her. Now, when you book an appointment, you are taking a relationship to the next level, but you must be sound, you must be smart, you must have something to offer, right? You must also be someone that is worth listening to, which is why investing in yourself is critical. And so, booked an appointment with her, and then guess where she gave me an appointment to meet her? In her house. And I was shocked because ordinarily I wouldn't even give people appointments in my house for the first meeting, but I went to her house and we were there having chat, laughing, smiling, and, chat for like 4 hours, straight hours. It was exceptional. And we bonded, we established relationship. And then she said, okay, so what brought you here? It was after that 4 hours that she said, what brought you? I said, well, I wanted you to be on my team, period. She said, oh, no, anything. Just let me know whenever you have projects or you have anything you want to do, just let me know. And then we can work something out. I said, okay, yeah, we're actually working on something. I was not in a hurry. I wasn't putting that as priority. And this is important, right? Because a lot of times people don't realize that, not even desperation chases people who are likely to do business with you, chases them away, right? So a lot of people don't realize, they don't understand this part, right? Being desperate is not a virtue. It's a virtue that can scare people who are potential business deals. And we can scare away potential business deals away from you. So this is very important. And, by the time I shared a document, a proposal with her, much later, she kept asking how far. I said, and then one time we started discussing back and forth, okay, no. And then bottom line, I was even in America at that particular point in time. This was a few years ago. I just saw, some amount of money wired, to our company's account. Lo and behold, this woman had done business with us. The point I'm trying to make is she was very, very, very convinced that it was a good deal to do with us. But I was not even physically present even to do that business with her, but she just did, and that was it. What's my point? My point is this. It took about 8 months between the time she came for my seminar and the time she did her investments, or she did business with us. It took about 8 months with us, right, before she parted with her at the end point. In some instances, it could be 5 months, sometimes it could be 1 week, it could be 3 weeks. But between the time somebody would between the time you met someone and the person gets to know you and you know the person, and eventually the person making a buying decision can last a year, can even extend longer. It all depends on a number of factors, okay? Now, the point I'm trying to make is when eventually somebody is a prospect, then you can be throwing at them some proposals, and then they can be making requests and say, oh, no, there's something we're doing. You can just talk about it on the surface level, and then they inquire more. If they're interested, they inquire more, or you can ask them, is this something they'd be interested in? By so doing, you are building rapport, right? So there are other conversations we have, we discuss all sorts of life issues, what you've been through. I mean, it was and that is what bonds us together. Now, let me quickly say this here. When you tell your life story, your business story, your journey, your brand story, as the case may be, right? It has a way it bonds with people. People who look like you eventually are able to connect with you, right? People really don't buy your product. They buy you first before they buy your product. And it's important to recognize also that it's not actually your product they are buying. It is the value that your product is offering that they ultimately buy. And so this is so, so important. All right. So when a prospect makes a buying decision, then they move on to the third phase, which is called customers. All right. So this woman became a customer, right? Like many other people have had business dealings with. So they became customers. And then at this point in time, they made a buying decision. But this is also not where it ends. For a lot of people, particularly those we regard in the real estate space as real estate agents, once an agent gets you an apartment, gets the tenant an apartment, rented out and all of those things, they forget about you. It is when they have a new thing that they remember you exist. But that's not the way you treat. That's not the way you should operate. All right. The next phase is customers. So after customers is clients. At this point in time, right inside of every customer is a potential client. So you can upsell them into buying a product or service of higher value or complementary value. What do I mean? So you either upsell, cross-sell, or even downsell, right? You upsell them into higher products, all right? Or cross-sell them into complementary products. So if you are in the fashion business, for example, and let's assume that the product that they bought from you initially was a cuffling, right? A cuffling for shirts, and then you are into the making of bespoke suits. You can upsell them into buying your suits. So they are buying something of higher value, even though they bought cufflings of maybe $100 or $200, they could buy $2,000 worth of bespoke suits from you, right? You have upsold them. Now, if you sold a cuffling and you sell them shirts, that's complementary, all right? If you are into auto business or you sell cars, you can also sell car maintenance services, right? So they buy cars and then you also provide car maintenance services to them. So that is complementary, right? So the car maintenance service is complementary to auto sales. Now, the businesses that make the most money are the businesses that ensure that they have continuity program infused into their business. So they are able to convert customers into clients, all right, into continued paying clients. So having paying customer, right, is not enough, but having paying clients is way better, all right? So they build an ecosystem where anybody who enters, there's something that they are getting from the business again and again, right? You don't, when you buy your car, you've bought it and you probably may not replace it for another 3 or 5 years, all right? But throughout that 5-year period, you will need maintenance. Throughout that period, you will need to care for that car wash and all of those things, right? You might require spare part replacement here and there. So those are the continuity program. And it's important that when you have acquired a customer, there's what we call the customer life cycle. There's also the product life cycle, but I want to focus more on the customer life cycle right now. It can be forever. You can be with a customer can be with you when you acquire them. You want them to remain with you forever, right? And so that because the cost of maintaining your relationship with your customer is way cheaper than the cost of acquiring a fresh one. In fact, it has been proven that it takes you 10 times the effort, 10 times the resources to acquire a new customer than it is to sustain and maintain the existing ones. So you do not just want to continue to chase after customers, but you want a situation where when you acquire them, you create such an experience that they don't just want to go anywhere else, right? So that's also very, very important. So for those of us who are business people, or you want to start a business, or you already started a business, these are key things you must begin to work into your entire process. I was consulting for an auto dealership, in the United States a while back, and I was saying to them, I said, where is the database of all the people who have done business with you, since inception? At least let us even look at the first 1 year, this last 1 year, and they said, hey, we have their names, but we have not been conscious. I said, no, data is currency. Data is currency. I said, when you have new deals, those are the first point of call. Those are the first set of people you can send messages to say, oh, we have new arrivals, you have new deals, you have new offers. And then if they come get something, or if they refer a friend, they get $100 off or $500 off or something. These are key things you can do. Say, eh? And immediately they implemented it, things went to another level. So you need to begin to look at the phase in which your relationship with your leads. So for those of you who do a lot of ads online, when they come in, first and foremost, there was something you offered for free that brought them, but at that level, they are still suspects. When they move from suspects and then they continue to attend your program, then they begin to develop trust for you. They begin to see you from a deeper level, and they know that it's not just about their money, it's about you offering value. And then they graduate to eventually making a pot buying decision. There are those of you who are in the tribe of wealthy origin, and the reason why you're in the tribe of wealthy origin is simply because you attended a program that I hosted. You bought a course, or you bought a book, or you bought something, all right? But before you did that, there was a value I gave for free. You came into that through that process. And I've been doing this now for weeks on ending. In fact, my executive assistant had to ask me that, okay, after that morning session, are we still going to have Wealth Unleashed webinar? I said, yes, we're going to have it. We're going to have it. And let me be honest with you here. The truth was that I even came in early and I was thinking that everybody did not join. And so I did this presentation an hour ago, over an hour ago, when there was nobody here, because I thought that, okay, maybe everybody thought because there was one session in the morning, there wouldn't be any other thing again today. And so I went on and did my recording. But later on, she confirmed to me that, oh, it was not yet time. And I said, okay, no problem. We'll redo it again live. So something I have done earlier, I'm doing it again. Now, if I'm offering any value, if I'm not offering any value, I don't think you'll be here again, right? So, and this is exactly what it is. Your passion must be where you must have a result you want to deliver to the customers. You must have an end result. There must be an alignment. You see, once there is an alignment between the needs, the problems of your leads, your contacts, and the product that you have, once there's an alignment between their problems and your product and services, sales is what takes place. All right? Because you see, at the end of the day, people buy for one reason only. And that reason is for their own reason, not your reason. They don't buy because they want to put food on your table. They buy because it solves their problem. They buy because it adds value to them. They buy because it meets a need in their lives. So this is so important. This is so important. Once there's an alignment between the problem they have, the needs they have, and the services or products that you offer, then that's when a prospect turns into customer. But like I said, beyond that, you have to think of what more can you give to them. Why? Because whether they buy from you or not, there's still something else they will buy elsewhere. And if it's something you can offer, right, why don't you offer it and turn them to clients, right? So the difference between a customer and clients is that a customer buys once, a client does a repeat purchase, all right? And that can go on and on for years and even decades, okay? Now, that's also not still the final. Now, when a customer buys from you, makes a buying decision, and then buys again, it becomes client. But when that client begin to refer others because of the kind of experience they have with you, they have not just become clients, but they have become, raving fans. They have become raving fans. And this is essentially what will reduce your marketing budget significantly. And there are many, many businesses that are this big today because it thrives literally on the cult-like following and then the level of referrals. I recall during my MBA several years ago, one of my professors, always, every now and again, he took us his lecture. He will always talk about Apple products. And at the time I was using Android, UTC phone or something. I can't even remember the particular, but it was an Android phone. And he was always talking about his phone and the kind of experience that it is sleek. The way he described, although he owns shares in the company, at some point, I have to go and buy Apple so that I can have peace of mind. And of course, I've not had to change to another higher grade and all of that. iPhone 15 Pro Max now exists, but it's not what is fueling my ambition. right? I have greater assignment and greater purpose to live for, But the point I'm trying to make is he has become a raving fan. And if you see, when Apple rolls out a product, right? In fact, before the product is ready, people already booked way ahead. They pre-ordered way ahead. There have been cases of people who sold their kidneys to buy Apple products. That is to tell you the level of cult-like following. So migrating people through this phase is a journey, and it has to be intentional. There has to be an alignment, internal alignment in terms of core values, in terms of trust, in terms of process, in terms of quality assurance, and a host of other things. And of course, other external factors also must complement whatever structure that is in place within that organization. Once you are able to recognize where you are in your relationship with people, within this framework, it helps you to know at what to tell them, what to say, and then what offering you can make to them, okay? And this is so important. Sometimes people can also come at a very massive level, and that means what you continue to offer them will be, downsells. So that means you begin to offer them smaller things, but that continues to keep so for example, after sales service, you buy an 150 kVA generating set, right, from a generator company or generator dealer, right? You need that generator to be maintained from time to time, right? We're doing a development now, somewhere on the island, in Lagos Island, and it's a 64-unit development, 2 and 3 bedroom apartments. And each of those apartments the development is going to be eco-friendly, energy efficient, and the kind of alternative source of power we are deploying there is not the regular one. We are not even looking at the national power grid, right, to service that place and to keep our costs very low. But when we gathered that, okay, what it will cost to acquire those the machines and the equipment, the only issue there is that it's cheaper, way cheaper, but the maintenance, we have to be flying people in, and all of that. So whether you like it or not, when you are selling something, you also need to be looking at that back end of what are you going to provide quality experience for the clients. And then, of course, when they have good experience with you, it will be difficult for them to refer you to somebody else. And like I said before, you are 3 to 6 people away from your next major breakthrough. Someone that knows someone that knows someone that knows someone. Just make sure that each one you meet part time, you deal with them very wisely, and you serve them to the best of your ability. And then it can lead to many, many more too. So this is the 5-step process for converting suspects to raving fans. So stop proposing marriage when you're just meeting someone. Nurture the relationship to a level where you know them, they know you, you've earned their trust, they've earned your trust, and then there can be mutually beneficial deals, and then you can move on to the next level, right? I want to believe that this has been helpful. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop your questions in the comment section. Please do me a favor. Go on our YouTube channel and then, make comments, right, regarding what you have learned today. And then if you also have any specific topic or any specific area of concern that you would want me to address, I would also love to know so that I can include it in the plans, right? So even if it's not going to be coming during Wealth Unleashed webinars, I can bring it up on other programs. So the series of programs that we are hosting, the Winning in Business series, continues this coming Tuesday. And this coming Tuesday, we're looking at lawpreneurship, and we're looking at how to bridge the intersection between business, life, and everything else, and family, and all of that. So it's going to be exciting. It's going to be very powerful. Don't miss it. And we're also having a legal expert coming to share. So that will be taking place by 8 p.m. West African time, 3 p.m. EST. Wednesdays, for now, we're hosting Bible Sense for Living on IG Live. So do well to join us 11 a.m. West African time and 6 a.m. EST. That's about it. If you would love to be a part of the 2024 January Financial Freedom Challenge, text challenge to 0708797041, and then you'll be glad you did. All right, so any questions? Do we have questions? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Do you have any question? All right. In the absence of any question, then we call it a day. So don't forget, we're having Mega Housing Summit, and my very revered mentor will be on the call with us later this evening. So do well to join us from 7 p.m. West African time, 2 p.m. EST. So that will be all. Hey, my brother, good to see you, Mr. Kweyemiola. Well done, sir. All right, so that's about it. All right, so do have a beautiful day.